Hey guys, it's Jollof Day, and how best to start jollof than to make the perfect jollof base. This is not your regular jollof that you'll find anywhere else. I'll be showing you how to make the perfect jollof base that will make your jollof absolutely delicious, and you can replicate this anytime, store in your fridge or freezer and use as you want. This is very easy. Okay, you just have to get the necessary ingredients and the right proportion. The perfect jollof base starts with basically 4 ingredients, right? Tomatoes, tatashe, rodo, and onions. Every other thing are things that would help your jollof to be really, really good. Okay, now here I have tomatoes, tatashe, atarodo, and onions. I also have ginger, I have garlic, I have beetroot. If you really love heat, one more pepper that you can add to this is shombo, also known as cayenne in English. It's called cayenne pepper. Most of us call it shombo in Lagos, okay? Now, when you want to get your perfect jollof mix, right, the ratio of peppers to your onions to your tomatoes is very important. Now, here is tatashe that I've decided, okay? I have my tomatoes, it's still very whole and it's very fresh. I recently started getting my tomatoes from Jos, and that has saved me a whole lot of stress. I have my beetroot, guys. Earlier I showed you my garlic that has already been peeled. Beetroot is such a game changer. When I discovered this, I'm said I'm never letting it go. Next is your ginger, and then we have our onions, purple onions, white onions, brown onions. I love brown onions preferably, but your purple onions or red onions is multi-purpose. And then you have your atarodo, aka your scotch bonnet. Now here is the trick, right? Whenever we say things like 60% of tatashe, 40% of tomatoes, just imagine if 10 was the number of all the ingredients you're going to use. What we mean when we say 60%, for instance, is that you're using 6 tatashe, right? You're going to use 2 tomatoes if you say 20%. If you say 10% of onions, you're using just 1. If we say 5, it means you're using half. Perfect jollof, in my opinion, especially because I've tried different ratios. Just think about 60, 20, 10, 10, or 60, 20, 15, 5. Now, 60 is for tatashe, 25 for tomatoes, 10 for onions, and 5 for rodo. Basically, your tatashe should be twice or even 3 times the quantity of your tomatoes because you'll be using tomato paste. That's how you want to measure this. Onions should be half the quantity of your tomatoes, okay? And your atarodo or scotch bonnet is going to be 1/3 of the quantity of your tomatoes. That's the best way I can explain it. Now, one of the secrets of this upgraded game changer jollof is garlic confit. The goal of this video is not just to give you the perfect smoky jollof, right, that you used to eat growing up, but to even upgrade that flavor such that anyone who tastes your jollof will be like, what did you put inside? This is that type of jollof. There's nobody who will taste this jollof and will not ask you, what is this? It is that good. Flavored oil is very important in this recipe. Using your flavored oil to drizzle all over that tomato instead of just tossing it into your oven. Pan to toast is such a hack that elevates it even more. And there's one more thing I do, which is to sprinkle a bit of chicken seasoning cube all over. Now, this is going to replace salt. And what this does is that, especially for your chicken cube, right, it's going to elevate that. So what that means is if you're making goat meat jollof, just sprinkle a bit of either beef seasoning cube, or you can just use your homemade stock, just a little, because it's also going to dry up with those tomatoes. And the thing about toasting these tomatoes or roasting them is that it's going to bring out the sugars, the natural sugars in the tomato, the onions, and it's going to refine it and make it so good. The caramelized flavor is what you're going for. Next, I'm going to also be roasting a bunch of herbs that I prefer. I have sage, right? I have introduced this to you earlier in the class. I have fresh thyme, right? Using the use of fresh herbs is just such a hack that is underrated. I understand that using dried herbs is because it's available, but if you can, get fresh herbs and you will notice the difference, okay? I'm using thyme. If you have your curry leaves, guys, please use curry leaves. That equally works. Not curry as a spice, curry leaves. And if you don't know, right, your curry spice contains up to about 10, 11 spices. And that's why it can be quite intense, because you have a lot of strong herbs and strong spices that are used in making the curry spice that you know. So it's not just curry leaf that was dried and blended into powder. That's not what you have in your curry spice. What you have in curry spice is a mix of a lot of things, okay? So use your curry herb, not your curry spice, not the blended one. Just get the curry herb, okay? This is what it looks like. What I did was I roasted some in my oven, right? And this would take roughly about 30-45 minutes, depending on how much moisture is in your tomatoes. And then I also pan toasted some, just in a dry heated pan. You put the onions, you put your tomatoes, you put the peppers on a bit of medium to low heat, right? Your pan should be really hot at first, otherwise it's going to start cooking. So heat up the pan first, pour in the peppers, and then increase the heat a little bit. And what you will notice is that it begins to burn. The only thing I'm going to advise is if you're going to do this on your pan, don't add your asarodo first, right? Put it in towards the end, because if you're toasting your asarodo or your scotch bonnet, it's going to begin to intensify that heat, and you can start coughing because of how that flavor is going to just start spreading around the entire kitchen. I don't want people coughing. So I'm going to advise, if you're going to do this in your pan, please first start by toasting the tomatoes, the attaché, the ginger, the garlic, the herbs. And as soon as you feel like, okay, this is looking good, you can then throw in the scotch bonnet towards the end and then turn off the heat, okay? One thing I would also say, especially if you realize that attaché is not in season, what you can use to elevate the flavor of the attaché, because the truth is when a particular pepper is not in season, it means that it is not at its best. So you want to do things to help to elevate the flavor of it. And I've come to realize that sweet bell peppers is just a perfect way to elevate your jollof base. So don't just use this attaché that is small and bitter. You can use that, but add a little bit of red bell peppers, your sweet red bell pepper. This is just going to elevate this. So it is also important to know when things are in season and how to augment that. I'm going to blend everything now. I didn't put all of my garlic confit because you already know that your garlic confit has already gone through heat and has already been optimized in terms of flavor. So you're just going to save some part. Just a little is what you're going to put when you're roasting. And it's in here that you're going to now put in every other thing that you need. At this point, even your beetroot should be roasted. And the thing about roasted beetroot is that it just, again, aside color that is going to give your jollof base, which you're going to see how beautiful that is, these are things that you can just use and elevate the look and also the taste. The beetroot is also going to bring its own flavor, its earthiness, that roasted flavor also to your rice. If you have a very good blender, I would advise you blend without water. But if you don't have a very good blender, you can add a bit of water as it's blending. So don't just pour so much water. Start adding water bit by bit as it's blending. The thing about not adding too much water or water when you're blending is you're just taking out time, hours sometimes, okay, to take out all the moisture from your tomatoes. You don't want to reintroduce them back, okay, eating that batter, especially if you're planning to keep this. You want all the flavors to be concentrated, right? And if you're bagging this up, just put it in your Ziploc bag or in your bowl, put it in your freezer, and this will last you for a long time, right? If you're adding water, it means you're going to cook down that water once again. So that's why we always say, try as much as possible not to blend with water. But if you don't have a blender that can blend without water, just simply add a little water. So as it's blending, add little water, and that way it's going to blend until it is this smooth. Guys, this is what we have. This is your super amazing jollof base. This is the jollof base that would make you want to eat jollof every day. This is the jollof base that will make you want to use jollof base in everything that you want to do. Can't wait for you to try this out. See you in the next video. Bye.